Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Alexa and welcome to my July favorites video. So as every month I do certain categories of things I enjoyed this month. It doesn't necessarily mean they were my favorite, it just means that I enjoyed doing them. And last video I mentioned I wasn't able to watch or read that many books and movies. This month I was able to, and I'm really happy about it, and I can't wait to tell you throughout this video. So I want to get started, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start off with a really small category because there wasn't really nothing that new that I watched. So the new Oshinoko season just came out and I'm currently watching it with some friends. It's been great. I feel like it's gonna be even darker than the first season, and if you haven't heard about it, it's basically centered around a set of twins, a brother and sister, and they basically, ever since they were small, they were in like the acting business? Is that how you say it? Yeah, in the acting business and music industry, not business. They were in the acting industry and music industry, and you're basically following their lives after a traumatic event happened in their childhood. The first season was amazing. Just so you're aware, the first episode of the season was like 20 minutes long, 1 hour long, when it's actually normally 20 minutes. That's what I was trying to say. And yeah, that's basically like a little synopsis of how the show is. I can't really dig too much into that information or it will get into really spoily zone. And please watch it. It's really fun. It's a bit dark than other animes I've watched, but it's been great. In shows, I didn't really see that many new shows this month, but I did watch a lot of movies. I mean, I would say it's a lot of movies. Watching 4 movies counts as a lot for me, at least. So let's start. I watched Hidden Figures. It's based on a true story, and it revolves around 3 black women working for NASA in the early 90s something. I'll put the date somewhere, and you're following them throughout the invention of the first man going into space in America. I think, yeah, the first man going into space. That's what I got from the movie. Maybe I was watching it wrong. But yeah, it was amazing. I had always seen some few reels of certain parts of the movie going around, and I was just fascinated about it, so I really want to watch it. My boyfriend also recommended it to me, so I just had to watch it, and it's 4 stars. It was amazing. The next few movies I watched all with my boyfriend because I really wanted him to watch these movies. I've watched them when I was younger and I really want to rewatch them, so we got to it. The first one was Bridget Jones' Diary. I watched them when I was really young and they would always be playing on TV back home. So I watched it with him and I remember the movie being so cringe. And it was everything I was hoping for. It was cringe, it was wonderful, a lot of British men. You love them British men of the early 90s and 2000s. So yeah, he found the movie as cringe as I thought it would. But it was wonderful to watch it with him. I want him to be a girly pop movie watcher, and he's watched a lot of these early 2000s movies with me focused on women, and it's just wonderful. I give it 3 stars because the movie is awful, but it has a special place in my heart. The next one that I want to watch with him, I love Robin Williams movies. Ever since I was a kid, I've probably watched more than half of his movies. But I had never watched fully Mrs. Doubtfire, so I asked him if he wanted to watch it with me, and he did, and I was really happy about it, so we watched it. and it was everything I was also hoping for. It was a hit of nostalgia, I would say, from the other movies I had watched, like Flubber and That Poet Society. It was everything, and it was just it hit me hard because when the actor died, I feel like it hit everyone, and I really loved his movies, so I feel like as a child it hit me even harder because I didn't really process it as someone I didn't know. So I remember crying to bed the day it was announced, his death, and now watching his movies as an adult feels really nostalgic, and it was wonderful, and I gave the movie 4 stars because it was just amazing. And last but not least, the new Deadpool movie came out, Deadpool X Wolverine, and my boyfriend isn't really a Marvel or DC fan. He watches the movies as just for fun, you know. He wasn't really a try-hard like a lot of people were when the Avengers were coming out. But I grew up with an older sister who was a fan of every single Avenger, so I just had to watch all the movies back to back, and my parents too. So when the Deadpool X Wolverine was announced, I was like, I gotta watch it. So that's what we did. We went to the cinema and we watched the movie. The amount of references of the old movies, like the old X-Men movies, and even other spin-off stories that were going around that were mentioned in the movie just made me happy, and the little child inside of me even more happy. I gave the movie 4 stars, which is a really high score for Deadpool, at least for me. I didn't really score the movies that high, the first or the second one. But this one was just wonderful, and I feel like it was because of the little love I had for Wolverine when I was younger. Now going to music, I'm going to be honest, I was really focused on listening to musicals this month, so there's a whole musical that I was really obsessed with that I'm probably going to mention in the August vlog or favorites video. Not this one, because these musics were the ones that hit me harder. So I mean harder not in the literal sense, they were just really wonderful to hear. And the first one was Paper Kites by Bloom. It's just really cozy. It makes me start to think about autumn and the really cozy vibes that it gives. So that's the one. And Drunk Running by Lizzie McAlpine. You know I love her. I was just re-listening to the album that came out, and this one was playing back to back on my playlist, so it was also really cozy vibes. It just felt nice, it just felt cozy. Yeah, those were the songs that I was mostly focused on. If we're talking solo now, if we're talking really big, I'll mention the musical in the next favorites, and this is a little hint for you to go watch it when it comes out. Next, I am going to mention games. Yeah, games. You heard me. I have been playing a lot this month. I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate. I've been playing Stardew Valley again. But I've also been playing a lot of Good Pizza, Great Pizza. I feel like this game is really old, in like, I mean, maybe not that old, but I didn't really know a really big fan base existed. So I started playing the game actually on my phone like 2 or 3 years ago. But eventually I had to switch my phone, and the data got like basically deleted, and I got really pissed about it. And the Switch store was having some discounts, and the game was like 2 years or something, so I had to get it for my Switch, and I started playing it. And when I went to the Netherlands, that's basically what I took my Switch with me, and I was basically playing it whenever I had some free time, and I got really obsessed about it, and it's really nice. I wouldn't say it's cozy, but it's really comforting and really laid back type of gameplay, so I really enjoyed that game. And if you like laid back games, just vibing, go play it. It's really nice. It's really not that expensive, and you get a lot of content from it. Not on the Switch though. On the Switch you don't really get events, if I'm not mistaken. On the phone, and I think on Steam you do get some events, so check that out, get informed. I'm not really sure because I don't have it on my phone or on Steam anymore, but yeah, check it out. Now, the best part, this is why this channel exists: books. I'm finally getting back into reading some books. I hope. The last book I read this month made me a bit, you know, but we're playing through it, okay? So the first book I finished this month was actually Stolen Air by Holly Black. I finished that book. It took me a bit of time to finish it, but I finished it, and it was wonderful. As if you saw my vlogs before this video, I was mentioning it, reading it, how the story wasn't actually what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to also be focused on Jude's brother, and it was actually focused on his love interest, and I was really happy reading the book. It has a lot of old, I mean, not old Holly Black books, because I haven't read older books of hers. I only read the Spidery Chronicles, and it's more childish than her now books. But I noticed that Stolen Air is much better written than The Cruel Prince, in my opinion. So I really enjoyed it. The ending made me quite happy. It's really well structured and written for the next book. I just haven't had the time to read the second book because I wanted to read something else, and that's what I did. So the Stolen Air was 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars. And it was just nice. It was a breath of fresh air in this type of fantasy genre that I like. It's more fantasy focused and romantic focused, I'd say. Yeah, it was more fantasy than romance, and I really enjoyed it. The next one, you guys know I'm a hoe for Ali Hazelwood's books. It's like the Colleen Hoover girlies. They love all Colleen's books. I love all of Ali's books, even though sometimes they might not be that well written, or I wouldn't say well written because they're okay written, but sometimes the story isn't just what I'm hoping for, and that's what happened with this book. I read Not in Love, the new book that came out. I had read Bride the month before, and I really enjoyed it. It was a nice read. It was everything I was expecting. Did it feel like a Wattpad fanfic from the early 2010s? Maybe, but it was really well written, and I just loved the whole vibe, okay? Now, with Not in Love, the story is basically focused around a girl. We're going back to the genre that Ali always does, which is girls in STEM, and she's basically a developer for a product that makes expiry dates last longer in produce, and a guy with his friends basically buy the company she's working for, and now she's afraid that they're going to take away her project, and the story revolves all around that. It's really blank in my mind, because when I read a book that I'm not really enjoying that much, it just becomes very blanky if I don't talk about it in the next week, and I didn't. I only spoke about this book with my book friends like this week, and it's been almost a month since I've read the book. So yeah, it's really blank in my mind of what I enjoyed or didn't enjoy. I remember a few things I didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy how the story was going. I didn't enjoy how sexual the book was. Like, I was aware that this is her first erotica. She did say it was her first, like, full-on adult book. I just felt like it was really, really focused on the sex and not on the story itself or the characters. So, I'm not sure, like, her other books have a lot of sex scenes as well, and they feel nicely placed. Sometimes the ones in this one didn't, so I feel like that was the thing that made me more uneasy about the book. But it was okay. If you like reading really romance focused books or erotica books, this one is really fine. It's okay structured. I feel like there were a lot of missing pieces in this book, but it was overall an okay book to read. I gave it 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars. And last but not least, because I spent 20 hours of my life, 20, I'd say 20, maybe it's a little less, but close to 20 hours, reading Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Yep, you heard me, Fourth Wing. So this book was really popular when it came out, which was last year. I think it was last year or 2 years ago when it came out. It was like TikTok was going batshit about the book, Bookstagram was going batshit, YouTube was going batshit, everyone was going batshit about this book. And me being me, I was like, okay, that seems like a nice book to read. Everyone's talking so well about it. But then I remembered, if everyone is speaking so good about it, is it hype? Or is the book actually good? So I basically waited until this month to start reading the book, and it's been more than a year since it came out. The hype has diluted a little bit. And when I started reading the book, I was really enjoying it. Truly, I was. The book has around like almost 600 pages, I think. No, 500 pages. It has 520 something pages. The first 100 to 200 pages, I was really enjoying it. I felt like the book was really nice. I did think though that when I started reading the first like 50 pages, the first thing that came to my mind was, this feels like a lot of Hunger Games, Divergent, and like other stories that I've heard of other books mixed together, and I was feeling really unsure about it. And as I was reading the book, I was like, okay, this feels a bit Kotar-ish or Toggish, you know? So what is going on? And I feel like the author took a lot of ideas from other books, and it made this one a bit messy. I am not going to lie. Like, I know this book, the first one wasn't rushed at all. I've heard that the second book was really rushed because of the hype that came from the first book. So as I was reading this one, I was really enjoying it by the 200 pages, like I said. We get to the middle of the book, and I'm like, okay, so where is this book trying to take us? And then I get to 80% of the book, and I start to want to DNF it, because the talk between like the two main characters is making me gag. I was also listening to the graphic audio while I was reading the book, and can I say, the sex scenes the first ones were okay. I thought they were pretty nice. But then we get more and more into like the characters monologuing, and then our main character is constantly horny, and it made me really uncomfortable because I was trying to read a book from her like point of view, and you're basically in the shoes of the character you're reading, and I didn't want to feel horny all the time, you know what I mean? I was like, stop being so horny. And she didn't stop until like almost the end of the book. And then of course there's a huge cliffhanger at the end of the book that I was also expecting to happen. like it was impossible not to. I at least felt like the book was a little bit predictable. I'm not sure what the second book, how the second book is going to be. I just know that I felt really devastated by the end of the book because I wanted something, and by the end I felt like I was reading a fanfic or written by a 14-year-old, and it just made me really sad. I do want to read the second book, I'm not sure when, but knowing that it was rushed because of all the hype centered around it makes me not want to read it, so I'm not really sure when I am going to. But I just wanted to leave it here. Like, the book was okay. It could have been good, it could have been great. I just felt like there were too many things happening at the same time that shouldn't have been. And for that, I gave it 3 stars. I thought on going 2.5, but I was like, sure, I'll give it the 3 stars because I've read worse and given it better ratings, so there's that. Also, I feel like it was a really big disadvantage to have such a huge book being the first of the series. Like, she should have written like a 300-page book or 400 pages max, and the story would have unfolded nicely. But that's just me. Now I need to take a breather because I just yepped. I yepped so much. Now, the last category that I always enjoy talking about, we have the miscellaneous things of this month. So, what do I start with? So let's start with skincare. I needed a new sunscreen, and I've been really unsure of which sunscreen to pick because we have a brand here in Portugal named Istin. I think there's in other countries. But this is like the most popular one to get, other than like Nivea and stuff like that. But I've heard really good things about Korean and Japanese brands, so I want to try a Korean brand. And I have this Haru Wonder sunscreen with black rice, moisture, airy fit, and very high protection. So this is an SPF 50. I've been using it for less than a month, so I'm not really sure on how to rate this one yet. But let me say one thing. I use the Cetaphil moisturizer for oily skin, and when I use this on top, this supposedly is for oily skin, so it's non-greasy and has a velvet finish. But when I put this on, I feel like my skin gets really greasy, oily, and I touch it and I just don't feel great about it. So I started actually mixing the moisturizer and the sunscreen together, because it helps a little with oiliness, but I'm still feeling a bit unsure about this one. I feel like it's a bit more oily than it should be, so I'm a bit unsure. Gee. Okay, next one, I'm going to show you shoes. I actually bought 2 pairs of shoes. As you know, I really enjoyed the Slip Vans. They're so comfortable, they're like the best. And we have like an outlet store like close by my home. So I went there and I was like in a kids section just passing through, and the checkered version of the Vans was there, and I was like, what if my size was there? And it was. So I got them for a really discounted price, and I'm going to show you. You see, they're really nice, they're really cute. I've used them like the past week and they're really comfortable. They're just great. I love them. They're really comfortable. And yeah, that's the first pair I got. And next I got these really bulky black shoes. Like, they're from Pull&Bear. They were like at a really discounted price as well, so I wanted to get them. I've worn them like twice, and the only thing I have to say is I wish the front part was a little bit more wide, because my pinky starts to hurt and I really don't want this type of bulky shoes to hurt, so I was a bit disappointed about that, but I hope that with use it'll get a little bit more loose and I'm able to wear them more easily. And now last, I got some secondhand books. I showed it in my last weekly vlog. If you want to check it out and how I talk more about them in that video, go watch the vlog. But yeah, so these are the ones I got. I'm just going to show you, I'm not going to talk much about it, but I have this one by Jane Haddam, and One to Die On. This is the one I really want from all the books my mom got me. She's the one that got them for me. It's a bit beaten, they're a bit beaten up, but they're all mystery books, and I was really excited to read them. So that's the first one. Then we have Peyton Place by Grace Metalius. I always say her name wrong. Grace? Is it a man? It's a woman? There you go. This one. I got this book by Aileen Gooch, Trail of Secrets. And honestly, I think I'm not going to enjoy these books. I really don't think so. But they were secondhand, and I wanted to read a few more different genres than I normally do, so these were the ones that I picked, and the ones I'm really happy about that my mom got me. I also mentioned it in the vlog. I'm a huge Jules Verne girly. My grandpa always used to get me the books, like even if there were different editions, he would always get me. And my mom found these really nice covers of the Amazing Journeys, Wondrous Journeys. I'm not sure how these series is named in English, because these are Portuguese editions. But the most amazing part of these books, like I'm going to show you each one individually, as you can see. The craziest part of all of these books is they're from the 1800s. I can show you. This one isn't I was actually going to show you one that isn't like coming off my hands. Yeah, I got this one from 1888. I'm going to try to zoom. I'm not sure if this is going to focus, but there you go. This is like the oldest book I own, and I need to go somewhere to get them fixed because they're falling apart. The pages are like coming off, but I was really happy about them. I have so many different editions and none of them are the same, so that's like a bonus for me. And these were basically all the things for my month and what I enjoyed in them. I'm really happy about it. I feel like this video is longer than all the others I did, but I had a lot of content to show you and I'm really happy about it. So yeah, if you want to know when I'm going to post or when the next video comes out, you can subscribe, you can like this video, you can leave a little comment saying if you enjoyed it or not, what you would like to see on my little vlogs. I'm also going to talk about these books and others that I'm currently finishing on a video coming out late August, so be expecting that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.